October 6th, 11:47 at night. The door is locked from the inside. You are Grace Hale. You are 29 years old today. 47 minutes ago, the last guest left the apartment your sister rented for the evening. 12 minutes ago, you walked into the bathroom, slid the small brass bolt across the frame, and sat down on the cold tile with your back against the tub. The cake is still in its box on the counter outside. The candles are still in the cellophane. Your phone is face down on the floor next to your right hip, and you can feel it buzzing through the tile every time another message arrives. You are not crying. You are not panicking. You are doing something quieter and older than either of those things. You are waiting for the day to be over. You think no one knows you do this. You are wrong. I am Wes Calder. I have spent the last 4 years sitting across from people who dread the same date every year of their lives. Doctors, mechanics, teachers, mothers, men who run companies, women who run marathons, people who can give a speech to 1,000 strangers and cannot blow out a candle in front of 4 friends. They have one thing in common, and it is not weakness, and it is not vanity. It is a date, a specific date, the date the calendar prints in their name. This is the story of 2 women born in the same year, in the same city, 6 blocks apart, and how each one learned to live with the date the world insists on celebrating. One of them is in the bathroom. The other one is on a plane. You will recognize one of them. You will probably recognize both. The day knows what you forgot. You are 16. It is October 6th. You are standing in your bedroom in your mother's house on Linden Street, and there are 4 balloons tied to the bedpost because your mother got up early and did that before you woke up. The balloons are pink and silver, and they were not your idea. You did not ask for balloons. You did not ask for anything. You said 2 weeks ago that you would prefer to skip it this year, and your mother said, in the voice she uses when she has already decided, that 16 is a real birthday, and that you would regret it later if you didn't mark it. So she marked it for you. 4 balloons, a cake she ordered from the bakery on Ashfield, 12 people invited, 8 confirmed, and a doorbell that will start ringing in approximately 38 minutes. You sit on the edge of the bed. You feel the throat tightening start. It is not new. It started 2 years ago when you were 14, and it has come back every October, a little earlier each time. By September 15th this year, you were already counting days. By October 1st, you were already practicing the smile. You do not understand why. You are 16. You have a roof and a mother and a sister and a body that works. You do not have a reason to dread anything. And yet, when you look at the 4 balloons drifting near the ceiling, you feel the specific, physical sensation of a hand closing around your windpipe. You do not know this yet, but the hand has a name. Several names, in several books, written by several people who have spent their lives studying the phenomenon. The clinical literature calls it anticipatory anniversary reaction. The first paper to name it was published in 1970 by a psychoanalyst named George Pollock. He noticed that his patients arrived in his office year after year in identical states of distress on identical dates. He started keeping a log. He found that the body remembers things the conscious mind has filed away. He found that the date itself is a stimulus, that the calendar, when a particular page turns, can trigger a full neurological response in a person who would otherwise feel nothing. You do not know this yet. You are 16. You are sitting on a bed. 6 blocks away, on the same morning, a girl named Mira Vance is also turning 16. Her father died 11 months ago, in November of the previous year, of a heart attack on a Tuesday. This is her first birthday without him. She woke up at 6, she made coffee. She sat at the kitchen table with her mother for 40 minutes, and they did not speak. And then her mother put her hand on Mira's hand and said, "Do you want to do something today?" And Mira said, "I want to keep the cake." Her mother said, "What cake?" Mira said, "The one Dad used to order. From Hollander's. The chocolate one with the raspberry between the layers." Mira's mother got up, walked to the counter, picked up the phone, and called Hollanders at 7:18 in the morning to order the cake. You are 16. Mira is 16. You are afraid of the balloons. Mira is afraid of forgetting. The same age, two opposite fears. The day knows what you forgot. By 11 o'clock, the doorbell rings the first time. You go downstairs. You smile. You hug your aunt. You hug your cousin. You hug your best friend Hadley Marsh, who arrives with a wrapped box and a card she made herself. You feel the hand on your windpipe loosen for 90 seconds while Hadley is in the doorway, and then it tightens again. You go through the motions. You pose for the photograph your mother insists on. You blow out 16 candles in one breath because you have been holding your breath for an hour. You eat one bite of cake and you put the plate down behind a vase so no one will notice. By 2:30, everyone is gone. Your mother kisses the top of your head and says, "See, that wasn't so bad." And you say, "No, Mom, it was great." And you go upstairs and you close the door of your bedroom and you sit on the floor between the bed and the wall, in the narrow gap where no one can see you from the doorway, and you stay there until it gets dark. That is your 16th birthday. It will be the last birthday you let your mother organize. Mira's 16th ends differently. She and her mother eat the chocolate cake from Hollanders at the kitchen table. They light one candle, the one her father used to light, the tall white one that looked too formal for a cake. Mira blows it out. Her mother says, "What did you wish for?" Mira says, "Nothing. I just wanted to do this." They sit in the kitchen until midnight. They do not invite anyone. They do not photograph anything. Mira writes the date on a small index card in pencil. October 6th, 16. The cake was good. Mom didn't cry until after. She puts the card in a wooden box on her dresser. The box is empty except for that card. It will not be empty for long. You are 22. You are Grace Hale. You are standing in the bathroom of a restaurant called Verge in the financial district on a Friday night in October, and you are looking at yourself in the mirror, trying to decide whether the smile you have been wearing for the past 2 hours is still convincing. The dinner was your idea. You suggested it 3 weeks ago to your roommate Devin Park, who immediately took over the planning, who invited 11 people, who chose Verge specifically because she said you deserve something nice for once, and who is currently outside this bathroom door eating a $48 piece of halibut. You are 22 years old. You make $31,000 a year as an associate at a marketing firm. The dinner is going to cost you $340 after the tip. And you do not have $340, and you have not told anyone this, and you will not tell anyone this. And instead, you will go back to the table, and you will laugh at the right moments, and you will let Devin take a photograph, and you will pay the bill with the credit card you opened in August. You think this is what gratitude looks like. You think this is what 22 is supposed to feel like. You are performing the version of yourself that you believe the people at the table came to see. You are doing this because you love them, and because you are terrified that if you do not perform, they will see what is actually happening, which is that you have spent the last 6 years dreading this date, and the dread has not gotten better, and you have started to suspect that something is wrong with you. Mira Vance turns 22 on the same night. She is sitting in a diner called Halloran's on 23rd Street, alone, with a cup of coffee and a slice of apple pie and the wooden box from her dresser sitting open on the table next to her. She has added 6 index cards in 6 years. She is about to add the 7th. She takes a pencil out of her bag. She writes, October 6th, 22. Halloran's, apple pie. Lonely in a good way. Dad would have laughed. She puts the card in the box. She closes the lid. She drinks her coffee. The waitress, whose name is Bet, comes by and refills the cup without asking. Mira tips her 30%. 2 birthdays, same night. 1 performance for 11 witnesses. 1 witness for 1 truth. The day knows what you forgot. You are 25. You are Grace. You have not had a birthday in 3 years. You have told everyone you are traveling. You have sent a photograph of a beach you found on a stock website to your mother and your sister and Hadley Marsh, who has stopped asking and started waiting. You have turned your phone off at 6 in the morning on October 6th, and you have turned it back on at 7 in the morning on October 7th. And during those 25 hours, you have slept, and you have ordered food once, and you have not opened the door for the delivery person. You have asked them to leave it in the hallway. This is your 25th birthday. It costs you nothing. You spend $0. You receive 23 messages. You answer none of them until October 9th. What you do not know, sitting in your dark apartment with the curtains drawn and the phone off, is that you are spending something. You are spending the thing that the calendar measures. You are spending the year. You are letting it pass without being in it. You will do this again at 26, at 27, at 28. By the time you are 29, you will have lost 13 birthdays, 13 specific days of your life, ages 16 through 28, in which you were technically alive and effectively absent. Mira spends her 25th at a small table in her own kitchen. She invites 3 people: her mother, her best friend, a woman named Nina Patel, and a man she has known for 4 months, whose name is Theo Greer. She does not put up decorations. She does not order a cake. She cooks one dish, a roast chicken with lemon and thyme, the way her father used to cook it. She asks each person before they eat to say one true sentence about the past year. Her mother says, "I am still here, and I did not expect to be." Nina says, "I am tired in a way I do not know how to fix." Theo says, "I am in love with you, and I have not told you yet." Mira writes none of these down at the table. She writes them down later, that night, on 3 separate index cards, and she puts them in the box. By 25, Grace has lost 3 birthdays. Mira has gathered 9 sentences worth keeping. Same age, same date, different mathematics. There is a paper published in 1992 in a journal called Psychosomatic Medicine by a researcher named David Phillips. The paper is titled, with deliberate provocation, quote, "Zero Phillips," and his colleagues studied 2.75 million death certificates. They were looking for a pattern. They found one. Mortality rates spike around birthdays. Specifically, women die more often in the week of their birthday than in any other week of the year. Men die more often in the week before their birthday. The effect is small, but it is statistically real, and it has been replicated, and the people who study it use a phrase that is hard to forget. They call birthdays, quote, "one." Your body, they argue, knows the day. Your body, they argue, responds to the day. Whether you celebrate or not, whether you remember or not, whether you lock yourself in a bathroom or you eat apple pie at Halloran's. The day is happening to your nervous system, regardless of what your conscious mind decides to do with it. You are 29, October 6th, 11:47 at night. You are still on the bathroom floor. I am Wes Calder. I met Grace Hale 4 months after that night. I did not meet her by looking for her. I met her because her sister, Lila Hale, sent me an email in February of the following year with the subject line, "I think my sister is disappearing on a schedule," and 3 attached photographs. The first photograph was Grace at 16, in front of 4 pink and silver balloons, with a smile that did not reach her eyes. The second was Grace at 22, at the dinner at Verge, with the smile slightly more practiced, the eyes slightly further away. The third was Grace at 29, sitting on a couch the morning after October 6th, holding a coffee cup with both hands, looking at the floor. Lila wrote, "She has been doing this for 13 years. We have all pretended not to notice. I cannot pretend anymore." I drove out to meet Grace in March. We sat in a coffee shop on Burnham Avenue for 2 hours. She did not want to talk about birthdays. She wanted to talk about anything else. So we talked about anything else for 90 minutes, and then I asked her one question. I asked her, "What do you think the day is asking of you?" She did not answer for a long time. Then she said, "I think the day is asking me to be visible, and I do not know how to be visible without disappearing afterward. I want to tell you the numbers because the numbers helped Grace, and they may help you. Between the ages of 16 and 28, Grace recorded 13 birthdays. Of those 13, she actively celebrated 2, 16 and 22, both organized by other people. The remaining 11 she spent in some form of avoidance. She documented 9 episodes that she now identifies as panic attacks. She spent $0 on celebrating herself. She spent approximately $4,200 on traveling, hiding, ordering food, canceling plans last minute, and replacing things she had broken or lost during periods of dissociation around the date. The financial number was not the one that broke her open. The number that broke her open was the first one. 13. 13 birthdays. 13 specific days. 13 pages of the calendar she had not lived in. When she said the number out loud, sitting across from me in the coffee shop on Burnham Avenue, she said it the way people say the names of people they have lost. The clinical name for what was happening to her is anniversary reaction. Marty Horowitz, in 1986, in a book called Stress Response Syndromes, described the mechanism in detail. The body, he wrote, treats certain dates as stimuli. The nervous system encodes the original event, whether it is loss or trauma or a pattern of being seen at a moment you did not want to be seen, and it responds to the calendar the way it would respond to the original event. The American Psychological Association, in a publication for general audiences in 2019, described it more plainly. They wrote, "The date itself becomes a trigger. The week leading up to it, they noted, can be worse than the date itself. They called this anticipatory anniversary reaction, and they noted that knowing the date is coming is, paradoxically, one of the most effective forms of treatment, because knowing it is coming means you can prepare for it, you can name it, you can stop pretending it is just another day. You are afraid of being seen alive." That is what Grace said to me, in her own kitchen, at 3:14 in the morning, the week after her 30th had not yet happened. She was standing at the counter with a shoebox full of unopened cards from previous years, cards from her mother and her sister and Hadley Marsh, and people whose names she could no longer remember. She had not opened any of them. She had not been able to. She said the sentence very quietly, almost like she did not want her own kitchen to overhear her. "I am afraid of being seen alive." I want you to sit with that sentence for a second, because I have heard variations of it in different rooms from different people for 4 years now, and the sentence is almost always the same. It is not, "I am afraid of being seen." It is, "I am afraid of being seen alive." The aliveness is the part that hurts, the being witnessed in the act of continuing, the standing in front of people who are looking at you and who are saying, in some form, "We are glad you exist." For some of us, that sentence, "We are glad you exist," is the hardest sentence in the language. It cannot be filed away. It cannot be deflected. It cannot be performed. It can only be received. And receiving it requires a kind of permission the dread has been refusing for years. Grace turned 30 on the small porch of a rented house on the edge of a town called Merrowfield in the second week of October, the year after the bathroom. She invited 4 people: her sister Lila, her mother, Hadley Marsh, and Mira Vance. I should tell you how Mira ended up on the porch. Lila found her. Lila had been reading, in the months after the bathroom, every paper she could find on anniversary reactions, and she had come across a small online community of people who marked their birthdays with what they called witnessing dinners. Mira was one of the moderators. Lila wrote to her. Mira wrote back the same day. They exchanged 6 emails. Lila told her about Grace. Mira asked whether she could come to the next birthday, if there was going to be one. Lila said, "I do not know if there is going to be one." Mira said, "Ask her." Grace asked Mira. Mira flew in. The porch had 4 chairs and a small table. There was no theme. There were no photographs. Lila brought 1 candle, the tall white one she had taken from her own dining room, the kind that looks too formal for a cake. There was a cake. It was chocolate, with raspberry between the layers, ordered from a bakery called Hollander's that has a branch in Merrowfield. Mira had requested it. Grace did not know why until later. They sat on the porch for 3 hours. Each person, before the cake was cut, said one true sentence about Grace. Hadley said, "You have been my friend since we were 14, and I have spent half of those years waiting for you to come back from October." Her mother said, "I am sorry I made you 16 the way I made you 16. Lila said, "I should have written the email 5 years ago." Mira said, "I do not know you yet, and I am here," and that is also a sentence worth saying out loud. Grace cried for the first 10 minutes. She did not perform. She did not smile for a photograph that was not being taken. She sat in a chair on a small porch, and she let 4 people look at her while she was alive. When the candle was lit, she did not blow it out immediately. She watched it for almost a minute. Then she leaned forward and she said, very quietly, "Thank you for this." And she blew it out. I was there. I am usually not there. I am usually in the coffee shop afterward with the notebook and the questions. But Grace had asked me to come, and I had said yes. And I sat on the steps of the porch with a glass of water, and I watched the 4 chairs, and I did not say anything, because nothing I could have said would have been more useful than the silence that the 4 of them had built. That is the year Grace did not lose. It is 1 year later, October 6th, 11:47 at night. The same minute, the same date. Grace is in her kitchen. She is 31 years old. She is making tea. She is alone, by choice, because she did the porch dinner 2 days ago, on the 4th, with a slightly different group of people. And tonight, she wanted to be alone in the actual minute. She is not in a bathroom. She is not on a floor. She is at a counter with a kettle and a cup and a small wooden box that Mira sent her in the mail in March, with 1 index card already inside it. The card is in Grace's handwriting. It says, October 6th, 30, the porch, 4 people. The candle was tall. I let them look at me. I am still here. She is about to write the second card. Here is what I would tell you if you were about to be 29, or 35, or 52, or 17, on a date that has been quietly terrifying you for as long as you can remember. The day is not the enemy. The day has never been the enemy. The day is a witness. The dread is what happens when you have decided, somewhere along the way, often before you had words for it, that being witnessed is dangerous. The dread is not irrational. It is precise. It is your nervous system protecting you from a moment when being seen cost you something. The cost may have been small. The cost may have been enormous. The cost is real, and it is yours. And your body has been trying to keep you safe by removing you from the calendar. You can do something else now. You do not have to throw a party. You do not have to invite 11 people. You do not have to spend $340 at a restaurant called Verge. You can sit at a small table in a diner called Halloran's. You can eat a slice of apple pie. You can write 1 sentence on an index card. You can put the card in a box. The box can be empty for a long time. The box is allowed to be empty for a long time. The box is not the point. The card is the point. The card says, I was here, on this date, in this year, despite everything. The day knows what you forgot, and the day forgives you for forgetting. The door is open now. The day knows. You can come out. I am Wes Calder. The next episode is the last one of this season. It asks one question, and it is the question that follows you out of every birthday and every anniversary and every locked door for the rest of your life. The question is this: who do you want to be when no one is counting? I will see you there.